Hello there, Internet. Yes, my face may appear slightly over and or underexposed throughout the course of this video, and yes, this sweatshirt might be slightly too saturated for this camera and thus it looks like it's glowing red, but I've already spent like 15 minutes trying to get these stupid new lights to be perfect, and I don't care anymore. Plus, there's now a massive lightning storm right outside my window, so it's probably gonna send thunder kaboom-a-booming my way repeatedly over the course of the filming of this video. I've officially given up on things being perfect. Also, I'm pretty proud of myself for using kaboom-a-booming as a verb, and I would like that to catch on. So, over the course of the past month or so, I've been trying to make myself use social media on a more regular basis because I want to use it to promote and push this channel. Shameless plug, you can go follow me on Twitter and like me on Facebook at smallbar2012. Yay! Well, yesterday I was doing my due Twitter diligence and swiping through an endless feed of 140 character word when I came across a tweet from Rick Riordan, the author of the Percy Jackson and many other mythology-based young adult novels. There's a screenshot of it right here, but the gist of it is that someone who had read one of his books had tweeted at him a passage that they found personally offensive for one reason or another, and he responded with, "OMG, I'm gonna take that out of the next publishing of this book." That was a paraphrase. I believe he's a touch too professional to use OMG. But I sat there, and I read through the passage in the book that had been screenshotted, and the person's tweet, and Rick Riordan's response, and then the many replies that were following it, and I just thought about this idea of offense that we have in our society right now. And corollary to that idea of offense, the idea that has risen up to try to dampen as much offense as possible, i.e. political correctness. Let me start off by being as clear as possible. I do not believe in any way that it is right to intentionally offend a person or a group of people or anything like that, because that's where you end up being on the extreme end of the spectrum a perpetrator of hate crimes, and on the less extreme end of the spectrum just kind of a general jerkish face. But all of a sudden we've taken this idea of offense and flipped it on its head, where it's no longer something that you do to people, but where it's something that you have done to yourself. The offense now occurs in the ears of the listener rather than in the mouth of the actor, or speaker, I guess would be a better word to use there, but that's fine. I have two problems with this, and first of all, it's absolutely ridiculous, because you cannot constantly be considering what might offend each and every single person who has the potential to hear what you're trying to say. If there's one thing I've learned in my 23 years of existence on this earth, it's that every person is different, and therefore every single person has a different set of things that they could potentially take offense at. Also notice the phrase is take offense. It is an action of the listener to decide to be offended by an awful lot of things. I mean, to kind of transplant myself into the Rick Riordan situation, someone had complained about the use of the phrase spirit animal in a way that wasn't respecting of its origins in Native American spiritual contexts, or first persons, or whatever the phrase is that you're supposed to use nowadays. On the one hand, I get that using a phrase like spirit animal, which has origins in someone's religion, might be somewhat kind of disrespectful to them, but at the same time, I read book after book and see television show after television show and watch movie after movie where repeatedly Jesus and God are used as the most flippant terms known to mankind. Do I think that's morally right? No. Do I take offense at it? Not in the slightest, because those people are those people and they can say the words that they want to say. Even though between you and me, I think it kind of makes them sound like idiots. Obviously, this is just one example, but I feel like you can pretty easily extrapolate this kind of idea to the fact that everyone will be offended by something, and you just gotta learn to let things go. But the second and much more compelling problem that I have with this idea of avoiding offense whenever possible is I think that it's damaging to the very idea of art and literature and philosophy itself. You see, all of those fields are supposed to be a conversation where someone proposes an idea and then other authors and thinkers respond to that idea, and then the relationship between those two things is studied and a new conclusion is formed, and then new people build onto that, and it's a constantly shifting, constantly expanding, wonderful musical conversation of ideas. That is the vital and necessary role that authors and poets and speakers and musicians and influencers of all kinds play in our society and in our culture and in the world as a whole. But if all of those people who have a voice before the public are constantly thinking, what can I not say because it might bother one or a group of people, suddenly a thought they might have had, a word they might have said will just lie silent. And because their response was never given because it might have hurt person X's feelings, then person A is never going to have this thought to respond to. And suddenly the entire system system of cultural development breaks down because we don't want to hurt someone's feelings. Not to mention the fact that if we're constantly sitting here thinking, what is this pre-approved set of ideas and terms and words that I can use that won't possibly offend anyone, if all of our creation and communication exists within this PC bubble, we're never gonna go anywhere else. We've built walls around our language to keep out any offense, and as a result, we've kept out any new thoughts. It's dangerous and it's scary and I want it to stop. Like I said at the beginning, this isn't about, okay, you can be a jerk to people, but this is about speak what's on your mind, because even if it does offend someone for some reason, hopefully they'll have the decency to actually communicate to you what it is about that prodded them or made them uncomfortable, and that can develop understanding, not necessarily agreement, but a development. And that's what language and communication is all about. Those are my thoughts. If they offended you, good, maybe, I don't know, but let me know down in the commente section so we can talk. Also, it's very warm in here. I don't know if you can tell that I'm like listening, but I should probably open a window or something. And I'll see you next week. Deuces.